Alle Fahrgäste aufgepasst. Letzter Halt bis Langstrecke nach Flensburg. Attention all passengers. Last stop until long haul to Flensburg.
Excuse me, is that seat across from you taken? If it's not spoken for, would you mind if I sat there? Splendid. Please allow me to get situated. You might be asking yourself, why exactly has this stranger chosen to sit across from me instead of one of the many other empty seats littering this train? Well, I won't hold you in suspense. The answer is actually quite simple. I find a certain joy in learning the intricacies of others, and at a glance, you seem to be quite the interesting person. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm well aware of the general unspoken agreement that most train riders have with each other. You know, not to disturb the peace and quiet of others without being expressly invited to do so. Although I appreciate the protection that this agreement might provide one against people who wish to do good people harm, I believe it also unintentionally shields us from situations in which our social skills can be tested and developed. A bit of awkward laughter every once in a while is healthy for the soul, I suppose, serving as a gentle reminder that no matter how confident we may make ourselves out to be, we are flawed people, and not willing enough to have humility. Enough of my incessant rambling, however. You see, I did mention having an interest in you, and I plan on making good to my word. So, what do you have waiting for you in Flensburg? I see. You live there. That's pretty cool. It's such a beautiful place, isn't it? I mean, I don't have anything against the bigger cities like Hamburg and Berlin, but I feel like Flensburg is just big enough to be considered a town, but not too big to be considered overwhelming. Not to mention how beautiful it is to see the sunset on the harbor. The first time I saw it, I felt like I was dreaming. It was so surreal. Personally, although I do work in Flensburg, I don't live within the town. The hustle and bustle is just a bit too much, especially when I'm trying to wind down after a long, stressful day of work. I think the countryside is much more suited to that, namely my home village of Großenwiehe. There's just something about riding the bus home through fields of oats and wind turbines that really makes me feel at home. Especially during the winter time when the fields are covered in blankets of snow. The beauty of winter definitely makes up for the subsequent cold that it brings, at least in my humble opinion. Furthermore, the lower rent is pretty nice, and it allows me more disposable income to spend on my hobbies and nights out with my friends. How much do you pay for your place? Well, you must at least have a nice place then, right? 1,500 euros a month definitely isn't pocket change. Well, then maybe you ought to visit me sometime in the countryside. Well, I mean, once we get to know each other a little bit better. I have a car that I seldom use because of how great the public transportation is, but I suppose I could maybe one day use it to pick you up from your dingy little apartment and bring you to the comfort of my country abode. I'd light a fire in the fireplace, and perhaps we could make and roast some kebab over the fire. maybe even have a little bit of cocoa. Well, suit yourself then, but the offer still remains, despite your quite apparent lack of enthusiasm. Why don't you tell me something about the town then? There must have been something that drove you away from your own village to live there. Or have you lived in Flensburg your whole life? Ah, so you're a city girl then. I'm sure you and your friends go out to the red light district every night and party on the town. You really didn't strike me as the type to... Oh, I'm so sorry to have assumed. Truly, I do really prefer more mild-mannered people. I think getting a little bit tipsy is fun, and having fun with friends over beers is definitely a great thing, but I don't think I could ever go out and party like you see on the television, you know? It's just a little bit too much. I feel like if I was to let myself go that much, I might do something strange or not like myself, and I really don't trust the drunk me to make good decisions in the presence of complete strangers, so I try not to let him loose when I don't have my best friends and the security of being in my own house to count on. Perhaps that could be subject to change, if you would prefer that. But what am I saying? We've just met. You know, it really must be the after effects of the pandemic. I'm not trying to blame everything on it. I know that a lot of people use it as a crutch to live their lives terribly. I'm not trying to do that. What I am trying to say, though, is that I do believe that my social skills have significantly deteriorated during that time, so in order to compensate for that, I believe I try to jump into things a little bit too quickly. Not to mention, I do have a history of speedrunning friendships, and they kind of either end really good or end terribly, or I'm still friends with them. It's kind of, a crapshoot, but I just really don't appreciate or enjoy the, if you would pardon my French, the terrible nature of small talk. I feel like it's such a waste of time, and you don't really get to know the other person, or even if you really want to hang out with them or not. And I feel like by just skipping that part where you talk about useless things that don't really matter and you get into the nitty-gritty, you can find out whether you like the person or not, and then you can choose then and there if you want to devote more time to developing that friendship or make the authoritative decision to not be friends with them and just go on with your life, Well, the fact that you've listened to me rant this long and haven't walked away or called for help gives me faith that maybe my personality isn't entirely annoying, or perhaps that you're just very tolerant of this. I do appreciate that. I know sometimes I talk a lot to fill the void when other people don't talk, because I'm not really that great at dealing with awkward silences. So I just kind of say whatever's on my mind without much of a filter, and I think a lot of people, even though they don't say it explicitly, find that part of me annoying. If you wouldn't mind, maybe... You see, there's this hobby shop in the middle of the town square called Gandalf. I mean, it's not quite in the town square. It's a about a block away from the town square, you know, where the main church is. And it's called Gandalf, and they sell manga and figures, you know, minis for D&D and 40K and, you know, cards for Magic and just about anything else a nerd could really need, I think. And if you wouldn't mind, I think it would be a cool place to maybe, you know, hang out. Totally non-committal and, you know, chill, and we could just hang around the shop for a little bit. And if you think it's going well after that, we could potentially get some dinner somewhere. I know there's this bäckerei, or I really don't know. I don't go out that often, but I'm sure you would be able to show me around. Or maybe, I know there's also an antique and a thrift shop that are pretty close to Gandalf. We could just like make a whole shopping day out of it, and I think that would be cool. What do you think? Like, I've got classes like for the entire next week, but Saturday I'm totally free. What do you think? Okay, so this is me. Can I have your phone? Okay, so now your phone has my number in it. I named the contact random cool guy from the train. Will text me before Saturday so we can kind of figure it out, and then we'll go from there. I know I'm kind of forcing this all on you, but trust me, we're gonna have a great time. And yeah, I don't know, friendships are cool, and I really enjoy them, and you won't regret this, I promise. Also, if you would humor me for a second, for, you know, you turn to read your book or look out the window for the next couple hours. I know this is a strange thing to ask, even stranger than asking someone you just met to hang out next Saturday, but I've always been pretty envious of couples that ride the train together, because while I'm like uncomfortable and whatever, trying to relax and maybe like fall asleep in the pretty uncomfortable economy class chairs that we're in, they get to lean on each other and like hold hands and be able to enjoy each other's warmth and softness. And, you know, I'm not saying I don't think you look cute, but I am saying I won't let that get in the way, and I think it would be cool if you would be down for some platonic sitting up cuddling to make this long train ride a little bit more bearable for both of us. Would you be down? Okay. Should I come to you, or you'll come to me? Okay. You can sit on my lap or on the seat next to me. I really don't care whatever you'd like. Just the fact that it's happening at all is kind of strange. I feel like I've always prepared for rejection, but that kind of leaves me totally unprepared for when someone doesn't. Okay. So yeah, just lean over on my shoulder, and then I'll lean back. That feels amazing. I'm totally glad I asked. Okay, well, I'm gonna try to catch a few winks. I'm totally just totally tired from my vacation, and I think a little bit of sleep would be nice. If I'm like leaning on you too hard or anything, just like nudge me, or if I don't, wake me up, punch me in the groin. I'll be mad at you, but then I'll understand, I promise. But yeah, I want to be totally accommodating, because this is totally a favor. Okay. Sorry. I'll shut up. Thank you. Good night. Okay.